What's up guys, Gannon here hitting you up with another One Piece discussion video, except today I have a really interesting theory to show you guys that I came up with the other night, and I'm pretty stoked because I haven't seen anything really identical to this on the One Piece forums or anywhere on YouTube, so I'm pretty excited. I think this could be, like, huge. Anyways guys, without any further interruption, let's get right into it. Alrighty, so basically, something that we've always been wondering ever since the introduction, or the first time awakened fruits were referenced. I believe they were first referenced by Crocodile in the Impel Down arc. He was referencing the jailers of Impel Down and how they were awakened zones. Ever since they were first mentioned, we've always wondered, what is the criteria? How do you actually awaken your fruit, and is it different for other fruits? We obviously have always been questioning the difference between the awakened zones and the awakened paramecias, as well as Logias. But have we ever thought that there was some sort of prerequisite for awakening your fruit? Something that's always bothered me in the community is when people leave comments like, how is the jacket fruit going to awaken, as if every paramecia or every fruit has the potential to be awakened. I think it's just absolutely crazy to think every devil fruit user has the ability and or potential to be awakened. I think it's actually, to my understanding, that you need to have some sort of prerequisite to awaken your devil fruit, rather than just training yourself in battle to eventually awaken it. I'd like to start off by saying that my initial hypothesis for how devil fruits are awakened isn't going to be consistent among all the class types. I think that it's possible that each class type has a different thing that you have to accomplish before achieving an awakened fruit. First off, I'd like to start off with my original hypothesis and then go to how I just kind of divided this up among the class types. Alright, so I was thinking, we only know 2 confirmed awakened devil fruit users in the series so far, and then we have one character, Luffy, of course, who we all know is going to get an awakened fruit at some point, so we can actually kind of use him as a slight example. And I was thinking, what's common among all 3 of these devil fruit users that allows them to awaken their fruits? Is it because they're extremely strong, in that they've transcended their fruit, they've perfected it? A lot of people reference that one panel where Crocodile says that he's perfected his fruit, and that's why a lot of people think that his Sand fruit is actually an awakened devil fruit. But I'm against the belief that you can eventually just obtain an awakened devil fruit through hard training and just it clicks one day. I just don't think that works. I mean, if that were the case, then you think every devil fruit user at some point would be able to awaken their fruit, but it's not true. We've only seen it among 2 extremely strong characters. And then it hit me, what do all 3 of these characters have in common? Well, if you look at this list over here that I found on the One Piece wiki, you'll see that all 3 of those characters have Conqueror's Haki. Basically, it was my initial understanding that to be able to use an awakened devil fruit of any kind, you had to be able to use the color of the Supreme King. You had to be able to use Conqueror's Haki, because both Luffy, Katakuri, and Doflamingo are able to use it. And then I was thinking, well, actually there isn't just 2 confirmed awakened fruits in the One Piece story. I totally forgot about the Jailer Beast. And while I could have just said that it's possible that the Jailed Beast had the ability to use Conqueror's Haki, I just didn't feel like that was extremely likely. And then I noticed there was a similarity between the 2 people who already have confirmed devil fruits, Doflamingo and Katakuri, and then also Luffy, who I assume is definitely going to get an awakened paramecia in the future. They're all of the paramecia class. The Mochi Mochi no Mi, well, while it is a special paramecia, it is technically a paramecia. And then we have the String fruit and the Rubber fruit, the Gomu Gomu no Mi, and they're all paramecia. So then I was thinking that the bare minimum requirement for being able to awaken a paramecia type devil fruit, in my eyes, was to have the ability to use Conqueror's Haki. In this way, there are certain designated powerful people who could actually awaken their devil fruit, and we don't have to worry about discussing the possibility of just lesser fodder fruits having the ability to awaken. Because it's probably not likely that fruits like the Jacket fruit or the Kilo no Mi are going to get awakenings anytime soon. Next thing I'd like to cover is the potential zone prerequisite for becoming an awakened zone. Besides the Jailer Beast of Impel Down, there is one example in the One Piece series of a prime suspect for an actual awakened zone that hasn't been confirmed yet, and that is of course Chopper's Monster Point. Now, I don't think the terms for becoming an awakened zone have anything to do with hockey. I actually think it delves more deep into the characteristics that you're able to transform into an animal. The first piece of evidence I found was that Chopper, before he actually learned to control his monster point after the time skip, he was more of a mindless, instinctive animal. We can also see this is consistent with the Jailer Beast of Impel Down. They actually don't seem like conscious people who are able to control their zone transformation. They don't look like they're capable of complex thought, and they're pretty much just taking orders from the jailers. Now, if this is true, I think I've come up with a pretty good idea to how one actually eventually awakens their zone fruit. Chopper, if he is indeed an awakened zone fruit in his monster point, this isn't really consistent with the theory, but of course it doesn't really matter because his monster point is only a product of the augmentation by his rumble balls. It is my belief that in order to get an awakened zone, you actually have to find your inner animal. You have to become one with nature. I think you actually have to train your body to be one with your animal. I think that this is evident by the way that both Chopper and the Jailer Beast weren't exactly human-like in their monster forms initially. Of course, Chopper did learn to control it after the time skip, but I think this also has to do something with the augmentation from the Rumble Ball. Think about it like this. If you were to train yourself to not only just transform into that animal, a zone type, but you were to completely become that animal, copy its instincts, just everything about it, and then your strength, your recovery time, your senses would just be exponentially better and stronger. I think this makes a lot of sense. I think, honestly, for a lot of zones to be viable in the new world and to face off against stronger enemies, they kind of have to be awakened at some point. And I think it's a little bit too much of a large term to come to for the average zone user to have to use Conqueror's Hockey to become an awakened fruit user. Anyways, finally, we're going to touch on the Logias. Now, this is the one that's probably the least impressive theory I have, since we really don't know a lot about the Logias, and I think our best indication of an awakened Logia is what happened at Punk Hazard. An awakened Logia appears to be able to change the climate of an area and just be able to have a larger area of an effect. Now, since there isn't something kind of crazy going on, or at least we haven't seen it from Logia types, like for instance how paramecias are able to affect the area around them, turn that into that particular substance, and how zones are able to turn into just some crazy monster awakened form of their zone beast, I think the actual term for becoming an awakened Logia user is kind of mundane. I think of any of the class types, it is the one most probable to just be able to attain that awakened zone by pure training. Now, I know I said I didn't really like the idea of a user just being able to train their way to become an awakened fruit user, but it really does seem like it's the most probable thing for a Logia, at least when I think about it. I think if you get to a point where you're strong enough to use your Logia type Devil Fruit to such a proficiency that you're going to be able to do awakened abilities. I don't think that you're going to need some crazy prerequisite. I'm pretty sure a lot of the Logias just should be able to awaken eventually as the character mentioned gets stronger and grows. For instance, Aokiji is able to use Ice Age. He's able to turn like a large portion of the ocean into solid ice, which probably takes a lot of willpower and strength to do. I just assume if you go and transcend beyond that and you're that strong of a character, you'll eventually unlock Logia type awakened abilities. Now, I know that isn't the best case for how you awaken a Logia type compared to the other ones I have theories on, but we just don't have any evidence, and it just kind of makes sense. It could also be the same thing as Paramecia, that you need to have Conqueror's Hockey to be able to do this, and it could be true that the Conqueror's Hockey theory is true for all class types. I just think that maybe the Jailers and Chopper have augmented them in somehow where they're able to bypass that and turn into monsters. It's pretty interesting to think about the possibility that different class types are able to awaken their fruits in different ways. Anyways, guys, that was my first One Piece theory video on the channel. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun researching and creating this particular video. Anyways, if you liked it, please drop a like. If you didn't dislike it, please leave comments. I love reading comments. And anyways, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.